So for day 7 of Halloween designs, I am going to be doing a cutesy type of Halloween set. So to start off, I'm taking Funfetti frosting from Ball Pit, which is this really fun, like pastel purple polish, but then it has like these little glitter pieces in it, and they're all different colors. And I thought it just kind of looked super Halloween-like because of the purple, and then there are some like orange glitter pieces in there and black glitter pieces, and it was honestly just giving me like, you know those kits at Walmart, those like cake kits where it's like the Halloween ones and like they're like funfetti frosting or whatever, or you get the frosting with the sprinkles in it. It was just kind of reminding me of something like that. So I applied this to all of the nails, and I did end up doing 2 coats of this, and I cured each coat for 60 seconds. And with this set, I feel like anybody could do it, even beginners, because you don't really have to try and do like a specific type of style for all of the designs. You can just do it in whatever style type of art you usually do. So it really doesn't have to be like super perfect or super realistic or whatever. It's just, however you draw a pumpkin or whatever. So now that that is all applied, I am just going in and wiping the sticky layer off. I always say this, that if you're going to go in and do nail art, to wipe that sticky layer off, because it does kind of make your nail art or your lines kind of spread out a little bit. And when you're trying to get nice, crisp, clean lines, obviously you don't want them to spread out a little bit. Now I'm just mixing up a color here. This is for the first orange color there is for the pumpkins. I think that's Orange Blossom from Ball Pit. And the second color here is going to be for the pumpkin faces. So I just wanted a little bit of a darker orange for this instead of going with the like traditional black faces on the pumpkins. So I just took that orange blossom and mixed in a little bit of neon heat from Ball Pit to create a little darker, brighter orange. And it still wasn't quite what I was looking for, so I mixed in Lifeguard Crush, and Neon Heat is a neon orange color that's a little bit deeper than Orange Blossom, but it didn't give me the like deepness and the darkness that I was looking for, along with like the brightness. So I did mix in a neon red just to, get that shade of orange that I was looking for. Like, I still wanted something super bright, but I also needed something that was a little bit darker than the original orange that I was going to use. And now I'm just mixing up another color here. So I took grape snow cone, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of espresso to create like a darker purple. I think I used this for like the stems on the pumpkins, and I wanted a darker purple to where it almost looks kind of black, but I didn't want to mix in black polish into it, because when you mix black polish into colors, sometimes they get a little weird, and I still wanted it to have that like super purpley look to it. So that's why I used espresso, because it's this super dark brown, but it has a purple undertone, so I was still going to get that super like purpley color, if that makes sense, just a lot darker than what I originally started with. So I just add a little bit of the brown at a time and mix it up to see how it's looking, and I just keep doing that until I get the color that I want. Okay, so now I'm taking the Angel White liner gel, and honestly, I don't know why I used the liner gel for this. I could have just used um, regular white gel polish, but because that's what I was using for the rest of the nail art, but yeah, for some reason I decided to go with the liner gel, and I'm not really sure what the reasoning was for that, or remember what the reasoning was for that, because I'm not doing like any isolated chrome designs or anything. But anyhow, I am on two of the nails going to do a spider web, and to do this I'm using, I think this is the 12 millimeter. It's either the 12 or the 15 from Ball Pit. And I just draw a line going vertically down the nail and then a line going horizontally across the nail. And then I do like an X through those lines. But I do it like, I don't draw like an X all the way through. I kind of just go from that middle point and do a diagonal line there. And then after I get that on, I will go in and do the little like connecting parts of the spider web, which are those little like swoops that are there. I did more of a like classic type of spider web for this set instead of doing like a more realistic type of spider web, if that makes any sense. So like the little swoops that there are, instead of doing kind of more like straight lines, or like, I'm trying to figure out how I can describe this. I feel like the spider webs that you usually see for like drawings and stuff, they're very uniformed and like symmetrical, whereas a real spider web is kind of, if you look at a real spider web close up, like there are some parts that could look symmetrical and uniform, but also because it's out in nature and it gets blown around and knocked around and stuff, it does end up kind of looking a little abstract almost. And I feel like the lines aren't very like swooped, or maybe they are on some of them, I don't know, but they're more like straight lines. Anyhow, I just went through and did that. And for doing the connecting lines, I like to keep them pretty thin. Like the original, I guess, cross hair lines or whatever you want to call them, I like to do them a little bit thicker. And then for these connecting swooped lines, I like to keep them a little bit thinner. I just really like how that looks. But you can do it however you want. If you want all the lines to be super thick, or if you want all the lines to be super thin, you can do it however you want. So whenever I go in to do these swoops, I do a very light pressure with very little product on my brush to get those super light, thin lines. And like I said, I was doing this on a second nail, but this one I just did like the spider web hanging from the corner. So I just took one line that was going to be my center line, and then on either side of that I did another line kind of like diagonally from it. And then if I needed another line on either side of those, I did add that, just to kind of make it so that the spacing between each section was a little more even, and one wasn't like super big compared to the other ones. I mean, they're not like perfectly even, but they were a little better. That top section there I felt like was a little too big, and I wasn't really liking how it looked. And then again, just go in and do those swoops the same way that I did. And then once I got both of these nails done, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. Now I am doing the pumpkin, so I'm taking that original orange blossom color and just drawing on a circle on the nail. And when doing this, you don't have to try and do a perfect circle unless you want your pumpkin to be like one of those perfectly round pumpkins. You could make it a little lumpy, you could make it more flat and ovally, you could make it taller and more ovally that way, just however you want your pumpkin to look. And then I do just go in and fill that all in. I only did one coat of this orange color, and I was a little nervous about only doing one coat because I remember I used a similar color to the Funfetti frosting for my Lizzie McGuire set, and I remember when I went in with the nail art, I did have to do a couple layers on the nail art to cover up some of those little confetti pieces. As you can see on the pumpkin, that one dark confetti piece right there is kind of visible, but I did kind of just go back in and tap in some more polish right there to completely cover that up, or at least cover it up enough to where you can't really see it. But also, I remembered that I am going to go in with a different color to do the face, so I was hoping that adding on the face would also kind of help cover that up a little bit. And I also did another pumpkin on the thumbnail. And once I got the base of my pumpkins done, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And then while those were curing, I went ahead and started on the skull nail that I was doing, which is the middle nail. And I just take the white, I think I used the liner gel again this time. Or I might have used just the white gel polish. I'm pretty sure I just used the white liner gel since I already had it out. But anyhow, I'm just drawing a circle on the nail, and this is a great way to do a super basic skull. Instead of trying to do like a super realistic nail. Like if you want to do a skull on the nail and you just want like a cute kind of basic nail or skull, this is how I do that. I start out with a circle, and again, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Like, you can kind of get away with making it a little lumpy, because, I mean, skulls are kind of lumpy, right? They have, like, all the divots and everything. But anyhow, just draw a circle on, and then I fill it in all the way, and then I will take my liner brush and kind of add a little bit more to it than what I usually do. Usually when doing nail art, I like to remove any excess polish that may be on the brush so I don't get that bead that's at the end of the brush. But when doing the like mouth part of the skull, I will leave that little bead there so I can get like a more rounded point on what I'm doing to create the little teeth, and then I just take my brush, set it right outside of the skull, and then pull it upwards into the skull to create the little like teeth of the skull. And then I will like go back in and kind of blend those two together, because you can kind of see like where the teeth ended inside of the skull. So just blend those out a little bit to make it be a little more smooth, and that is how you can do a super easy skull. Then I'm just taking my dotting tool and doing the little eyes and the nose. So just 2 dots for the eyes, and then for the nose it's kind of like an upside down heart. And I did that with that purple color that I mixed up. And now for back to the pumpkins. For the stem, I'm also using that purple color that I mixed up. So I just start with like a tiny little line at the top of the pumpkin, and then I like bring the stem up however far I wanted and just do the stem however I wanted. And then I forgot that I wasn't using this purple for the pumpkin face. So I started doing the pumpkin face in the purple here, and then I realized and had to wipe all that off and redo the stem. So that was a little bit annoying, but honestly, if you wanted to do the purple for the pumpkin face, you could, but that wasn't what I was going for this set. Like I said in the beginning, I did want a darker orange for the face, but yeah, so after I realized that I was using this purple, I did go ahead, wipe the face off, and then redo the stem, and then I did the stem on the other pumpkin, and then cured the stems for 60 seconds, and I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I did cure the skull face for 60 seconds as well. And now for the pumpkin faces, or the jack-o'-lantern faces, I guess. It's kind of hard to see because it is like orange on orange, and that darker orange that I mixed up, it's not like super dark, but it's like dark enough to where if you're looking at the nails up close, you can tell the difference between the pumpkin base and the pumpkin face. So I do apologize that it is a little tough to see, but I'm just doing 2 triangles for the eyes. I can't remember if I did a nose or not on the pumpkin. I don't think I did because I didn't really have enough room for that. But for the mouth, to make it a little easier on myself, instead of doing the outline and like carving out the teeth as I'm doing the outline, I just did like a half circle. So I drew a line straight across and then did a curved line connecting the 2 ends of that straight line underneath to create like that open mouth kind of smile on the pumpkins. And then after I got that cured, I went back in with that lighter orange and carved out the teeth that way. But I'm just moving on to do the face on the other pumpkin first, so like the eyes and the mouth on that one. And then once I get all that on, I do go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And so now that that's all cured, here I am taking that pumpkin base color and just kind of carving out the little teeth there. Um, this, it's kind of not my favorite way to go about doing this, because then the little part that you use to create the teeth on the pumpkin face, it is a little bit raised up and it doesn't like super blend in really well, because that's, like 3 layers of gel polish in that one spot, or I guess 4 because of the base color. 5 if you count both layers of the base color. So it does get kind of raised up a little bit there, because the more polish you layer on top, the more raised up it gets. So this isn't necessarily my favorite way to do it. I do prefer to just do the outline and like carve the teeth out as I'm doing the outline, and then fill in the mouth. But this is an easier way to do the pumpkin mouth, at least in my opinion, because you just fill it in and then go back in and put the teeth however you want. So it does make it a lot easier to do the pumpkin mouth, especially for someone who's new to nail art, instead of like taking the time to draw out the mouths individually, which I usually do. And I can't remember if I already uploaded a pumpkin video or not, but there's more pumpkins coming later on, so You'll see how I usually do the mouths. But then I went ahead, cured that for 60 seconds, and now I'm just going in with the Nails by Dev matte top coat and top coating all of the nails. I thought this set would look really cute being matte. It would look really cute being shiny as well, but I don't know. For some reason, the colors of this set were pulling me more towards doing a matte set, and I really like how these, like, the base color, these, like, confetti gel polishes look when they're matte. They just look really nice when they're matte. I have, like, 3 different ones of them. I have this purple one, I have a pink one, and then I have a white one. All from Ball Pit. I forget what all the names are. But they're super fun, and I really like them, and they look really good matte. So I went ahead, applied that to all the nails, and then cured it for 60 seconds. And then the Nails by Dev matte top coat is a wipe-off top coat, so you do have to take a lint-free wipe and some alcohol and wipe the nails off to get that matte effect. And I, like, really scrub the nails whenever I'm wiping them off to make sure I get all of that inhibition layer off, because I don't want that on there, and I don't want any part of the nail to look shiny at all. But this is the finished result. It is a super cute Halloween set. Definitely more on the cutesy side for those who don't like the spooky or the gory kind of Halloween vibes. And like I said, I feel like this is a pretty easy set for anyone to do, because you can just do it in, you know, your style of art and like how you typically do your, like, spider webs and pumpkins and skulls and stuff. And you can keep it, you know, super cute and basic like this, or you can, you know, if you're more advanced with nail art, you can put more details in and everything. Like, this is a super easy set to where you can, you know, make it more beginner friendly or make it more advanced. So that's why I really like sets like this, because anybody can really do it, and you can, you know, do it however you're comfortable doing it with, or however your skills allow you to do it. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.